among other charges. Our reporter Maina Mwangi reports.
Has met the 2/3 requirement to decide on this question. The ayes have it.
With this pronouncement from the Kirinyaga County Speaker Anthony Gathumbe, Governor Anne Waiguru stands impeached after 23 members of the County Assembly voted in favor of the motion tabled by Mutera Ward Representative David Kinyua Wangoi. 4 MCAs dissented while 6 others snubbed the sitting. The County Assembly has 33 members. Governor Waiguru is accused of a series of wrongs, including deliberately failing to submit county plans and policies to the County Assembly for approval, irregularly awarding of tenders to her cronies, and buying a county vehicle without following the tendering process. Also, the MCAs were angry with the governor for irregularly allocating her self-impresses for trips abroad and failing to travel, and intentionally failing to issue the State of the County address, thus undermining the County Assembly's authority.
We made a conscious decision that now we are going to do our role as members of County Assembly and do literally serious oversight on all the county executive.
We have passed the voice of the residents of Kirinyaga. Since the governor came to office, much can be said about her delivery in terms of service. It's comparing all over with our people. And they have been asking us a question: what are you doing as our representative? Then we have answered their question, we have given them the answer.
The Assembly's labelled a company identified as Joames Investment Limited as a beneficiary of a tender awarded by the governor without following the due process, among other companies that the MCAs deemed unfit to be awarded county tenders.
For us, we did what we're supposed to do, with a lot of intimidation. I have 4 letters from the party. I have been intimidated in every way. I have my family which is not even living at home, but I want to tell people this is the price you pay for your people, and we are ready to pay even more for that.
Before the impeachment motion was debated, Governor Anne Waiguru had issued a statement terming the motion ill-informed and ill-timed. Governor Waiguru had obtained a court injunction barring the MCAs from debating the motion until the issues she had raised in court were heard and determined. Waiguru said she wouldn't be bullied and that the MCAs were serving the interest of a higher master outside the County Assembly. As Waiguru takes the next move, the Assembly Speaker will forward the resolutions of the House to the Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka within 2 days. Waiguru joins a list of Central Kenya governors impeached, including Kiambu's Ferdinand Waititu, Embu's Martin Wambora, Nyeri's former governor, the late Nderito Gachagua, and Muranga's Mwangi wa Iria. All of them were saved by the courts and the Senate, apart from Waititu. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
So after the MCAs impeached Waiguru, the County Assembly Speaker is expected to notify the Senate Speaker of the impeachment of the motion. Having sailed through the County Assembly, the motion to impeach Waiguru will then move to the Senate. The Senate will set up a special committee to investigate the grounds raised for the impeachment of Waiguru, or the whole House may also conduct proceedings to impeach her. Only a simple majority of 24 senators will be required to vote in favor of the motion once it will be tabled in the House. Waiguru may then move to court as the Senate waits to determine her fate. Of course, that is what is next for the governor in as far as her possible logical options that are still open are concerned. Elsewhere, now the Attorney General Paul Kihara has defended the President against Chief Justice David Maraga's accusations that he has been hampering with the operations of the judiciary. Attorney General Paul Kihara now accusing the Chief Justice of witch hunt.
Just a day after Chief Justice David Maraga directed his fury at the President, alleging that he is frustrating the judiciary, he has received an equal measure of response from the Attorney General. The Attorney General accusing the Chief Justice of using the wrong channels to address the President instead of holding talks with the head of state.
And highly charged public attacks by the Honourable the Chief Justice have now taken a decisively personal slant.
You also know that I have, for a long time now, unsuccessfully sought to sought an appointment to discuss this issue with you.
Maraga's fury was anchored on President Kenyatta's refusal to appoint 41 judges forwarded to him by the JSC, which is chaired by the Chief Justice, in which the Attorney General is a member. The Attorney General says there is a case in court challenging the integrity of some of the judges nominated.
His Excellency the President will not abdicate his role as head of state and government to appoint persons with a questionable record to serve the nation.
The Law Society of Kenya has joined the Chief Justice in demanding the swearing in of the 41 judges, the society threatening to initiate the impeachment of the president. The Attorney General has retaliated that the executive is ready to work with the judiciary and warned the Chief Justice of speaking on matters already in court.
Besides that, the doctrine of sub judice and contempt of court, which the Honourable the Chief Justice may have breached by commenting on what should have been the outcomes of those pending cases, is a vital part of our constitutional architecture.
Kihara says the executive cannot receive orders from the judiciary. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Now elsewhere, outgoing Burundi President Pierre Nkurunziza has died after suffering a cardiac arrest. Burundi government says Nkurunziza was admitted to hospital on Saturday after feeling unwell. His condition improved, but on Monday he had a cardiac arrest and efforts to revive him were unsuccessful. Let's bring in our reporter Diana Iriza, who is on standby from Rwanda. Diana, what else do we know as of now?
Hi there, Abu. It is great speaking to you today. Now, it is very sad news learning of the passing of Pierre Nkurunziza, president of Burundi, president of one of the neighboring countries of Rwanda. Now, according to the statement released by Burundi's government spokesperson, it is said that he died from Karusi 50th anniversary hospital located in central Burundi, where he was hospitalized on June 6th. And what else do we know about, besides him being hospitalized on Saturday? His condition seemed to improve on Monday, and on Tuesday he had a cardiac arrest, and he passed on Monday, that is, and he passed on today on Tuesday. Nkurunziza was set to step down from power following the election of Major General Evariste Ndayishimiye on May 20th. It is very unfortunate that he won't be passing over his power, personally handing over presidency to Major General Evariste Ndayishimiye in Burundi. What else do we know? The Burundian government has announced a 7-day national mourning period in honor of President Pierre Nkurunziza, who led the country since 2005.
Anna, before I let you go, let me ask you one last question. The Burundian government says he died out of a cardiac arrest. I ask you this question bearing in mind that his wife is being hospitalized in a Kenyan hospital. A number of his family members are also said to be in hospitals across the country. Of course, this being due to COVID-19. Is it cardiac arrest, or are there possibilities that the president may have died of COVID-19?
So far, according to sources and according to the government spokesperson, the only thing we know is that it's cardiac arrest. And if there is any more information, if there's any information in regards to that, we'll definitely know, we'll definitely find out.
Well, all right, that is our reporter Diana Iriza, of course, live from Rwanda, a neighboring country to Burundi. Of course, the president there, in reference to Burundi, has been in power for the last 15 years. The country held an election amidst COVID-19. The results were out. Of course, his successor being a member of one who has been in party. Of course, this is as well opening up questions of whether he genuinely died of cardiac arrest or what could have caused the death. But nonetheless, we'll be bringing you up to speed as early as we get to know what really caused the death. Moving on. Over 100 quarantine facilities and 50 isolation centers have so far been set up by the government as the Ministry of Health anticipates a spike in the number of coronavirus cases and infections in the coming week. The 50 isolation centers have a total of 3,700 beds and are part of a government initiative to scale up the mitigation of the spread of COVID-19 at community level. This even as the country recorded 124 new COVID-19 cases in the last 24 hours. David Mudoka reports.
With worries of a surge in COVID-19 cases, the government is working round the clock to put up isolation centers and quarantine facilities at the sub-county level. This as the Ministry of Health officials warned that the country edges close to a coronavirus peak in coming weeks. The ongoing setup complements the yet-to-be rolled-out home-based quarantine protocols in a bid to ease congestion within isolation centers at the national level. In Siaya, the county's 10-bed isolation center had been fully occupied by Sunday. Elsewhere in Kenyatta University Hospital, 3 beds were vacant as at Thursday last week.
There is adequate capacity, and going by the numbers of patients who are in hospital today, you can obviously say that indeed there is still capacity across the country.
This as the country on Tuesday recorded 127 new infections, bringing the total number of infections countrywide to 2,989. 54 people were discharged on Tuesday, with total recoveries scaling up to 873. Of the 127 new infections, Nairobi County leads with 62, Mombasa 34, Busia 14, with all of them being truck drivers. Machakos has 4 new infections and Bungoma 3. Kwale and Uasin Gishu counties have 1 case each. Sadly, the country has recorded 3 new fatalities, bringing the COVID-19 death toll to 88. 19 health workers are currently in isolation centers. With fears rife about a potential resurgence of COVID-19 cases in Isili, which now benefits from relaxed containment measures,
it is likely to happen depending on whether those measures that have been put in place are really adhered to or not. If those measures are not adhered to, we expect, yes, that there will be an increase in number of infections.
The CAS also warning against stigma directed at those infected, saying it undermines efforts by health workers to mitigate the spread of COVID-19.
Stigma divides and turns us against each other.
A man also noting the key weapon to fighting the novel coronavirus as adherence to containment measures. Now, with the coronavirus disease already at community level, the government is in a race against time to try and set up more quarantine facilities at grassroots level. David Mudoka, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, a nominated Member of Parliament, Godfrey Osotsi, now says Musalia Mudavadi's term as ANC party leader expires on Monday next week. The now troubled lawmaker is calling for grassroots polls to elect new officials. However, the party has axed him from its list of members, as Elizabeth Mutuku now reports.
The nominated lawmaker wants the party to hold its grassroots polls by Monday, claiming Musalia Mudavadi-led office has completed its term.
On Monday, which will be 15th June 2020, the term of office of all party officials, including the party leader, will have expired.
But trouble befell him immediately, with the parties removing him from membership list. A letter from ANC's Secretary General Barack Muluka has already been received by Registrar of Political Parties ahead of a determination.
We've seen a statement by Honorable Sozi imposing himself as the Secretary General of ANC. I want to affirm here that the Secretary General of ANC is Mr. Barack Muluka. Is not Godfrey Osotsi.
Osotsi further accusing a section of party members for crafting a coalition with Deputy President William Ruto ahead of 2022 polls.
If William Ruto will help us to State House, we have no problem to join him that to talk to him that time. If Honorable Kenyatta will be the one to help us go to State House, we have no problem. We will talk to every Kenyan. Honorable Mudavadi will talk to every Kenyan at that time of making coalitions, so that he gets a coalition that can propel him to State House.
ODM leader Raila Odinga has been accused of fueling the ongoing power scramble in Ford Kenya and ANC.
Tumechoka kila wakati kuhusishwa na shida za wanaume wengine. Tumesema wewe kama ni mwanaume na unaendesha nyumba yako, ni lazima uwe in charge ya mambo yako, sio kila wakati kulia eti mwanaume mwingine anakuharibia nyumba yako.
Mudavadi's troubles coming in a wake of supreme battles within Ford Kenya. A scramble of the Luhya votes is gaining momentum. Some leaders are now taking advantage of the disunity in the Mulembe nation. Elizabeth Mutuku, TV47 Nairobi.
Thank you, Elizabeth Mutuku, for that report. Remember, Godfrey Osotsi is our guest tonight on the show. We are taking a short break here on TV47 News tonight, but we'll be back with that discussion and much more news after this break. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Let's get to more news now. The Wafula Wamunyinyi-led faction in Ford Kenya has started what they term as a strategy to revive the party after removing Moses Wetangula as the party boss. The faction defending itself against external forces amid power struggle at Kenya's second oldest political party. Wetangula was removed from the helm of the party and has now 6 days to file any protest against his removal.
We shall be offending the spirit of our founding fathers if we allowed Ford Kenya to be held hostage by greed and ineptitude of the overly arrogant individual in the name of Senator Moses Wetangula. We shall not allow our party to continue being a briefcase venture that it is and hawked for profit and personal gain. Our party trades in democracy, not in gold. We must bring this trickery to an end. Senator Wetangula reigns at the helm of the party, has demonstrated poverty of leadership. His ascendancy to the position of the party leader remains the worst strategy experienced by our party since its inception.
Accusing us of being kibaraka ya mtu mwingine or a stooge of any other person, trying to destabilize Western and things like that. In fact, if you bother to go to the ground in Western, you'll find the majority are very happy with what we have done.
Now, from the Jubilee House cleaning to Ford Kenya coup to the disquiet in ANC, it seems to be a heated political season setting off in as far as the judgment of what has been happening is concerned. Nonetheless, as earlier promised, let's bring in our guest to this discussion. Our guest tonight is Godfrey Osotsi, nominated Member of Parliament, who joins us now. Mheshimiwa, thank you for making time for us. Let me ask you, are you tonight a member of ANC?
As usual, to respond to my very positive gesture by sending propaganda on social media that I'm not a member. I cannot be a member. I cannot be a member of Parliament if I'm not a member of a political party. Number two, I have religiously been paying my monthly subscription to this party, and at no time did they say that they do not want to have my membership fees received by them. So those who are saying that I'm not a member of the party, tell them to read the constitution of this country, to read the Political Parties Act, and to read the party constitution, and ask them why they have been receiving my monthly subscription every month without denial, and that monthly fee is what has been running the operations of the party. So that is a side issue. I would want them to address the substantive issue that I raised today. And the substantive issue that I raised today was the issue that the term of office of the national officials of the party, all national officials, including myself, including the party leader, including everyone else, is expected to end on Monday, which is the 15th of June 2020. This is in accordance with the constitution of the party that says that national officials will have a term of 5 years, and upon the expiry of the term of 5 years, they will undergo democratic election, which will be done in 5 years. So this party is expected to hold democratic election within 5 years. That 5 years is ending on Monday. They have not started the process of holding elections, and I think it is important for Kenyans to know that political parties in this country must adhere to the law. The law in this case, the Political Parties Act, the Constitution.
You have well answered your question. Nonetheless, we still have more than 30 minutes to discuss this, but let me finish up first with the news. That was just to tease what we have. Now, following unprecedented killings and brutality allegedly being carried out by police in parts of Kiamaiko and Mathare in Nairobi, a number of families of the victims are yet to come into terms with the aftermath of losing their loved ones. Hussein Moyo, the father of Yasin Moyo, who was shot dead by police at the balcony of their house in Huruma on 30th March this year, says he is yet to get justice. And as Eli Logova reports, this development comes as residents and human rights commissions and groups stage protests demanding an end to these atrocities.
Na mtoto amebleed sana ndani. Kwa hivyo tumejaribu ile tumeweza, lakini mtoto amefariki. Pole. Mtoto amefariki. Pole. Nikamwambia mtoto amefariki. Mimi nikitembea nikaona ala. Nikaguza mtoto wangu, nikamguza, nikaona kweli huyu mtoto amenyamaza.
These are the painful memories left of Hussein Moyo, whose son Yasin Moyo was murdered on 30th March 2020 by police officers enforcing curfew regulations in Kiamaiko. Yasin was shot at the balcony of their house. 13-year-old Yasin Moyo is among 95 people who have lost their lives in the hands of police officers since January of 2020. They are keen now calling for justice.
Hivi majuzi kama wiki moja imepita, tukapata ujumbe kwa simu na kwa marafiki, angalia simu, order imetoka kwa DPP. Mashirika hizo IPOA iliniita, wakaniambia tunakupea recommendation letter kuonyesha barua yako tumepeleka kwa DPP, hii faili yako na uko sawa. Kwa hivyo wewe ngojea ripoti wakati wote.
This happens as residents of Kiamaiko and human rights groups stage protests calling for an end to police killings and brutality.
We want to demand the police produce the body or the person of Michael Njau. It is now 2 months. Yasin Moyo, mtoto wa miaka 13, a 13-year-old boy who would have been a KCPE candidate later this year. That boy died at the balcony of his parents' house. Innocent life matter! Innocent life matter!
Eli Logova, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Eli Logova, for that report. Indeed, innocent lives matter, and all lives matter. Time for us to take another short break. We'll be back with the discussion on ANC, the troubles or the lack of it in the party after this break. Stay tuned. This is TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Thank you for choosing to stay with us. And as earlier promised, let's get to the interview now. Our guest tonight in studio, Godfrey Osotsi, nominated Member of Parliament. Mheshimiwa, thank you for making time for us once again here on TV47.
Thank you very much for welcoming me into your studio.
All right, earlier on I asked you whether you are still a member of ANC, Amani National Congress, a party. You said yes, you are a member, but who wants you out of the party?
Well, the issue of membership, I think, is not an issue that should really disturb our minds now, because you know that every member of parliament has to belong to a political party, and I belong to a political party called Amani National Congress, of which I'm a member. I know there were attempts to deregister my membership, and those attempts, you know, the process is going through a court process.
Yes, of course, we won't talk of the merits and the demerits of this case, but nonetheless, I've asked you a very specific question. Who wants you out of the party tonight, Mheshimiwa?
Well, I think forces of impunity and axes of evil within the party are the ones who would like to see Honorable Osotsi and many others who have divergent views intimidated in the party. But I think that's not the main focus of today. The main focus of today is really the issue I raised today, which is a very fundamental issue.
Which is the grassroots party elections and party elections, isn't it?
Well, that is now a subsequent issue to that.
All right, we'll talk about that, but nonetheless, still on who may be wanting you out, there was a letter dated March 19, 2019, when the ANC Acting Secretary General Barak Muluka wrote to the Registrar of the political parties wanting your removal because of what they termed citing allegations of misuse of the party funds when you served as the Secretary General ahead of the 2017 general election.
Well, that is one issue that I don't want to go into, because you see that is March 2019. We are now in June 2020. So it's really an issue here. The real issue that I raised today, which I wanted to be the substance of our discussion. We'll come to that,
as I promised earlier on. We will come to that.
Is the issue that I raised on the legitimacy of the national officials, that the term of office is expiring on Monday, which is the 15th of June 2020. Why is that like that? It's because every political party is guided by its constitution. The constitution of ANC is very clear that national officials will serve for a term of 5 years. They can seek re-election after 5 years.
All right, we'll come to the term of the party leadership in this discussion, as I promised. But nonetheless, when the party accuses you, for instance, of mismanaging party funds, how do you respond to this?
Well, I want to say one thing. That is one of the issues that is before the court of law. And because of the sub judice rule, I will not be in a position to explain that. But there has been various reasons given for my expulsion. They have cited many reasons. One of the reasons which you have read out is the issue of party funds. Issue of party funds was as a result of a fraudulent audit exercise that was purportedly done by the Auditor General. And you are aware the Auditor General wrote a letter delinking himself from that exercise. And the letter is there. Later, when they went to court, they said that it was not the issue of party funds, it's something else. But as I said, I do not want to go
All right, fair enough. It's
that.
A case before a court of law. It's a case before a court of law. We can't talk of the merits and demerits of it. Nonetheless, let's get to the earlier press conference. You addressed the media earlier on today, and I quote part of what you said. You said, and I quote, "We do not want a scenario where people are keeping parties in their briefcase to bargain with." Just for purpose of clarity, what did you mean by that statement?
First of all, let me explain my basis of today's press conference. My basis of today's press conference was a result of the misinformation which has been going on in social media and even in some mainstream media in relation to the takeover of ANC. And that has been triggered by what happened in Fort Kenya. That some people within the ANC party, I think as a result of desperation and panic, decided to run propaganda on social media and the mainstream media that Honorable Sosi was going to take over ANC party.
Are you therefore refuting the claims of Lugari member of parliament?
No, listen to me first. Because you have asked me a question and I want to answer it before.
Which I'm asking, are you refuting those claims? Because you have
I addressed the issue of Honorable Savula, and I said Honorable Savula has no legal basis to even make any decision on the party because he's not a party official. He is not the deputy party leader. The position of deputy party leader is vacant. He is not the chairman of parliamentary group because we do not have a position called chairman of parliamentary group.
Even though according to the party's official website, he is named as though he's the deputy party leader.
That is a lie. Because if you want to
according to the party's website.
Let me tell you, if you want to get the names of the party officials, you get them from the office of the registrar of political parties. And I'm free to read out the names if you want to have the names with you. There are 11 individuals who are officials of the party, and none of them is Savula, Ayub Savula. So the position of deputy party leader is vacant as we speak now. The individuals who claim to be holders of those offices are imposters. They are not officials of the party, and we only have a party leader who is Honorable Musalia Mudavadi.
So are you wrong? Are you saying that it is wrong for the party to have stated him as a deputy party leader in its official
Yes, it is wrong
website?
Because even in the past we have had people claiming to be NEC members and giving themselves names. They are not NEC members of the party, they are imposters. And one of them is Honorable Savula. The other one is Honorable Kirwa, who has defected from the party, has now joined Jubilee. They are not officials of the party. The fact that they are friends to some of us in the party does not make them officials of the party.
All right. When you say there are people who want to keep parties in their briefcases to bargain with, what do you mean, Mheshimiwa, once again?
Abubakar, I think you are too fast for me because I wanted, first of all, to explain the basis of
we will come to
my
that on
press
the party
conference
leadership,
today.
isn't it? The party leadership term.
Yes.
We will come to that.
Yes.
But let me get what you meant.
What I meant with that statement is that we have parties in this country where those parties do not have appropriate structures in place. They do not have offices in at least half of the counties as required by law. And they only exist on paper. And we need to get to a scenario where we have parties which are established within the law, within the Constitution, within the Political Parties Act, within the regulations. And it is important for us to have that because we do not want individuals just to come up and say, I have a political party and put it in their pocket and say, we are leaders of this party.
And when you say
I am concerned with that.
And when you say that statement, were there specifics to whom you are referring to?
I said that in reference to the fact that the challenges we are having in Fort Kenya and the internal problems we are having in ANC have been blamed on outsiders who have nothing to do with what is happening in the party. And it's largely because there is no space, democratic space in this party because they have been personalized. They have been made as individual outfits. And members' decision or members' opinion have been muzzled because they are supposed to be small, short, and thin. And that is the problem we have in this country.
And does
that is why
fall in that categorization?
Yes.
Does it?
It does.
And who is putting it then on a briefcase?
It does. And that is why I have a problem with that. Because if you do not have the right number of offices, I left ANC when it had 30 offices across the country in different counties. I left ANC when the process of getting the structures working were in place. Right now, ask them, apart from the head office here, which office do they have operation? Even in our own county where I come from, and where my good friend, the party leader, comes from, Vihiga, the office has been converted into a welding shop. That is not the democracy we are looking for in political parties. And when did we have elections, for example? I raised the issue of Fort Kenya. Because Fort Kenya, my good friend Wetangula is trying to blame Raila for the problems which are happening in Fort Kenya. And I'm saying no. We know that since Wetangula took over Fort Kenya from Muskari Kombo in the same manner that Omunyinyi has taken over, he has not held any election.
All right, the coup and what saw in Fort Kenya, of course, continues. But nonetheless, let's talk of ANC. Just a very personal question. Is there a bad blood between you and the party leader, Musalia Mudavadi, in reference?
I have said severally that I do not have personal differences with Honorable Musalia. What we could be having is differences on opinion. And we have had several cases where we have differed, but eventually along the way we have found a common path. And I gave an example of the handshake. When the handshake initially happened, I supported the handshake. He opposed the handshake. But along the way, he has come to support the handshake. BBI, he opposed the BBI initially. I supported BBI.
So all the disagreements are based on principle. There's nothing personal.
Yes, it's based on principle.
All right, let's get to...
And even now we are saying that the ANC has to demonstrate internal democracy. That's my opinion. When I say that, they say that I am a rebel. I'm saying no. That is the direction we need to take. And that's why I said on Monday, all of us are going to be former officials of the party.
They say you are a rebel because, let's look at some of your statements. You said, and I quote again, there is a systemic scheme to make sure that Mudavadi joins Ruto.
Yes.
There's no any other member of ANC who has come to the public limelight to make such a statement. That's why they view you as a rebel.
You know, there is a difference between being a rebel and saying the truth. I gave reasons why I believe so. Because one, they opposed the handshake. They opposed BBI initially. And you saw that even they sponsored a book that largely talked about Raila. You saw the kind of statements that were coming out from Kibera during the by-election. And all that clearly told you that they were heading towards Ruto. And you have even seen recently when they even had a press conference to try and challenge the meeting that happened in Kajiado. You saw the people who attended. It was like a roll call of who is who in Tanga. That clearly tells you where they're heading to.
All right.
And I said that even now, the current hate that is being directed towards Raila Odinga, it is all about creating an excuse to join Ruto. And I said, you do not have to talk ill about Raila if you want to join Ruto. If you want to join Ruto, just join Ruto. And the whole world will know that you have joined Ruto.
All right, let's talk of the question of the term of the party leadership. Of course, this elicited a reaction as well, in as far as the reaction to the presser earlier on and to your statement is concerned. The Constitution allows one to be holding such a position, any leadership position, the party constitution in this reference, for 5 years. If then that term is over on Monday, the 15th June 2020, does that mean, according to you, ANC will have vacuum leadership positions first?
Let me tell you, I am a founder of ANC. And I'm proud for that. And being a founder of ANC, I have some privileges, especially on issues of information. And when I say something, it's coming from my heart. Because our constitution talks about 5-year term. That is one. Secondly, it says after the end of 5 years, all offices will be vacant and shall be filled through a competitive, democratic process. Now, The party was officially registered on the 15th of July 2015. Now, on Monday, which will be the 15th of June 2020, that will be exactly 5 years.
Which begs the question,
which
if the term
now
is
brings
over,
into the issue of
which begs the
vacancies
question,
in the positions of the members of the National
if
Executive
then as
Committee.
of Monday, of course, which is a week away from now, there will be no party elections, does that render all these who are in positions first in a vacuum to be?
Well, let me just advise you. What happens is that when Monday comes, that means there will be legally there will be vacancies in the party to be filled through an election process. Election process is supposed to take some time. So the party is supposed to organize for election in the shortest time possible. Unfortunately, they should have foreseen this, and they should have started the process way before this, because we are only a few days to Monday. Unfortunately, we are getting to Monday. There is no arrangement in place to have elections, and that's the most unfortunate thing. But they can still request the registrar of political parties to give them time, maybe 1 or 2 months, to organize for the election. COVID being there also as one of the factors. But most importantly is that you cannot deny the members of the party an opportunity to exercise their democratic right of belonging to a party and participating in the democratic process of the party. And that's why I said today that the propaganda outside there, that Osotsi and Savula and wherever they want to take over the party, it is not true. The truth, and the truth which is guided by our constitution, is a term of office of the national officials is expiring on Monday.
And given
and
that
that
term expires on Monday, with no notice to the registrar of political parties with intention of wanting to hold a party election not yet to be served, it takes us back to my question: who then will be the party leader of this party on Monday? Does that render the leaders as of now as though their term has ended?
Now it becomes an administrative issue. Now they have to engage the registrar of political party and seek for the extension of time within which they are supposed to hold the election. The registrar of political parties may grant that time or may not grant that time, because you cannot wait until the deadline for you to start acting. You remember that ODM was supposed to do elections in February. Because of COVID, they wrote to the registrar of political parties and requested for an extension. Jubilee was supposed to do the election in March. They also wrote to the registrar of political parties and requested for an extension. You do not wait until the last day or the last week or the last hour for you now to engage the registrar of political parties for an extension. So it is a fluid situation, but most importantly, even if they were given an extension of 1 or 2 or 3 months or even 6 months, what is important is that the fact is that the term of office of all national officials is expiring on Monday.
Point made. I understand we are out of time. Nonetheless, if the party elections are to be held or will be held on the day the party and the registrar of political parties will specify, would you, as nominated member of parliament Godfrey Osotsi, vote for Musalia Mudavadi to be the party leader again for another term?
Let me tell you one thing. I have a lot of respect for Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. We do not have personal differences. We could be having differences of opinion, which is there. And I wish you could listen to some of the things I say. They are useful. For instance, now, when I say the term of office of the national officials has expired, that's a very fundamental issue that cannot be ignored.
All right, my question is, the term has ended. There is voting in the party, and as far as the leadership positions are concerned, would you, as a member of parliament, as a member of the party, vote for him to continue serving as the party head?
I will not have a problem with him as a party leader. I may vote for him to be the party leader of the party, but let him follow the law. He talks a lot about good governance. He talks about the fight against corruption. He talks eloquently about debt management in this country. He talks about very good things that we all want to hear about. We want to see the same being exercised in his party.
All right, Mheshimiwa, thank you once again for making time for us. Of course, that is nominated Member of Parliament Godfrey Osotsi. We are talking of matters ANC, whether there is peace or the lack of it in the party. Of course, this has well been a question, a matter to look out for in the coming days. Thank you, Mheshimiwa, for making time for us.
Thank you.
At that point, we are taking another short break, but we'll be back with sports news after this break. Welcome back. Let's get to the world of sports now. Modern Coast Rangers head coach Mohamed Mshula has praised the decision by Kenya Football Federation to end the 2019-2020 National Super League season owing to the coronavirus pandemic. Our reporter Julius Juma spoke to Mshula and has filed the following report.
On the last day of April 2020, FKF President Nick Mwendwa broke the news on Twitter that the federation had prematurely ended the 2019-2020 NSL season amid the biting coronavirus scourge. Mwendwa, who is vying for a second term in office, posted, and I quote, "Nairobi City Stars, welcome to the Premier League. Now make haste with those great signings." A declaration that has received applause and condemnation in equal measure. On his part, however, Modern Coast Rangers head coach Mohamed Mchula louds the decision, opining that players' health is paramount.
Kwa sababu ligi ilikuwa imesimamishwa na ukiangalia mpaka itime mpaka sasa niliona li make the right decision. So naona mpaka sasa skuli September zikifunguliwa tungekuwa tumespend time mingi na ambayo tena season nyingine ingekuwa na faianza. So at least hiyo decision pia ilikuwa better alichukua kwa sababu si team zetu mingi zina facilities.
Speaking exclusively to TV47 Sports Desk, the 29-year-old and one of the youngest in the game, however, admits that the decision was a blessing in disguise as the ugly and callous jaws of relegation were taunting them, given the underwhelming performances, especially in the first leg.
Ilikuwa ni time ya ku-rebuild team. Sababu ile time ile wachezaji nilipata hii season kianza nao, wachezaji karibu 11 wote walitoka. Walipata timu zingine. Sasa ikakuwa ni changamoto. So hii season kubwa ni ku-stabilize team. Nimejaribu. Though kuwa nashukuru Mungu tulispend sana time mingi kwa relegation. So kama corona ingetupata hiyo time, I think so pia sisi tungekuwa tumedondoka.
The former Wazito coach blames the season's woes on the limbo that marred his stay at the Mombasa-based outfit.
Kusema kweli ilikuwa ni hivyo, ndo hata nafikiri ilichangia hii season mimi kuperform vibaya na team. Kwa sababu nilitake time sana ku make decision, nikikuja windows karibu kufungwa nikapata pre-season only 3 weeks ligi kaanza. So ilikuwa ni changamoto kubwa. Bado sikuwa nimesign contract kubwa, ilikuwa na another 1 year na ilikuwa ni ku renew contract.
According to FKF, Rangers lie 16th on the NSL log with a return of 15 points after 18 rounds. Reporting for TV47, I'm Julius Juma.
Elsewhere, Athletics Kenya has started rolling out a stimulus package to support junior athletes in the wake of COVID-19 hardship. The beneficiaries are athletes who are in camps preparing for this year's World Under-20 Championship that has been postponed due to COVID-19. Athletes from Machakos, Makueni and Kitui counties are the first beneficiaries.
Chama ya riadha kupitia kwa ile tunaita youth programs na chairman wake Barnabas Koril, ikawa lazima waletee hao wanariadha chakula ili waendelee na mazoezi, kila mtu akiwa pahali hako kule nyumbani. Kwa hivyo tukawakusanya wote. Bwana chairman Koril ametuambia sasa wakati huo ameanzia huku Southern Region, na lazima sasa ataenda kila mkoa katika makambi yote ambao kuna hawa chipukizi, ndiye wapatiwe kakitu angalau kidogo kiwe kinawasaidia wao wakati wanaendelea na ile tunaita personal training.
Well, all right, that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi, on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible. Bye for now, but enjoy the rest of our programs.
Mwaka 1992